In this exercise, you will be examining the basics of 2D graphics support in Android using a view. At the end of this exercise, you will be able to create a view as shown on the emulator screen here. As a first step, download basicgraphics.zip file that we have provided to you on the course site, and then unzip it and import the project into Android Studio. Once you have imported the project into Android Studio, open some of the files that are already included. We have pre-configured parts of the project for you so that we can concentrate on those parts to explain in more detail to you. First and foremost, open main.activity.java file. You will notice that this is a standard activity that we have seen earlier, and there is not much variation in here. And you also see the use of the toolbar in main.activity.java file. Now, second, open activity main.xml file. You will see that inside this file, when you switch to the text view tab, you would notice that we have included in view widget here called as the draw view. Now, this draw view is a custom view that we are going to implement as part of this project. How do we construct this draw view? Now, as I mentioned, in Android, you can take the view class and then subclass it. Then it becomes your custom view class. And then once you subclass the view class, then you can go in, and then the view class provides you with methods that enable you to construct your own custom view or custom widget. Now, let's then switch to the drawview.java file. This is where we are subclassing the view class. So the draw view is a subclass of the view class. So from the code, you would notice that I am subclassing the view class, and we have the constructor method here. In addition, when you subclass the view class, Android Framework gives you a method called as the onDraw method. The onDraw method enables you access to a canvas. A canvas is like what you see in a painting canvas. You get a blank area on which you can then put objects onto, just like a painter takes in blank canvas and then starts painting onto that canvas. The draw view subclass contains the onDraw method here, which you can use to draw onto the canvas. So let's see how we go about constructing this draw view class. First, let's understand that in order for you to draw items onto the canvas, you need to create a few paint objects. Paint objects are required whenever you need to draw any items onto the canvas. So we will first create some paint objects. So when you go into the draw view class, you will see some to-do comments here. We're going to replace one by one each of these comments and then understand how this works. First, let's complete the constructor method of the draw view class. First, I am going to go in and then replace this to-do comment with a set of code in order to create a few paint objects. So here I am creating two different paint objects, red paint and blue paint, which I'm going to make use of on my canvas. So the red paint, the way we create a paint object is to declare the paint object variable and then use the new constructor for creating a paint object, and then we set the color of that paint object appropriately. So similarly for the blue paint object. In Android, whenever you need to draw any images onto the canvas, the canvas accepts bitmaps that can be put onto the canvas. So if you happen to include any images in the PNG or in a JPEG format in your application, then you should convert that into a bitmap. Now, Android framework provides some factory methods for you to convert images into bitmap files. So to do that, let me show you the corresponding code by replacing this to do comment with the appropriate code here. I am using this code in order to convert an existing image file from the resources folder into a bitmap. So I'm making use of the bitmap factory that is provided in Android and creating a scaled bitmap with that image. Now, where is this image located? This image is located in the MIPMAP folder of your resources. This is basically the image of the launcher icon that you use for your application, the standard launcher icon. So I'm just leveraging an image that already exists there for creating a bitmap. You can always make use of the similar approach by including your own images into the drawables folder and then taking those images and converting them into bitmaps using the same approach that I show here. So I am using bitmap factory decode resource, and the resource that I'm supplying here is the image file that I have included in the folders there. And then I am specifying that I want to create a scaled bitmap of size 50 pixels, 50 by 50 pixels here. So this I am putting it equal to the variable that I'm going to later on make use of when I draw these items onto the canvas. The next method that I will focus you on is the onDraw method. In the onDraw method, Android framework is going to supply you a canvas. And this canvas comes in as a parameter for the onDraw method. Now, once you get hold of the canvas, then you can draw objects onto the canvas. So to do that, let me replace this to-do comment with appropriate code and then explain to you what this code actually does in practice. So you can see that I am now making use of the canvas object, and then I am drawing either lines or rectangles or circles onto this canvas. So let's examine the first one. So it says canvas draw line, and it specifies the 2 points of the 2 endpoints of the line. So here this line is drawn from the bottom of the screen, a width of about 100 pixels, and I'm going to be using blue color for this. So that's why I'm specifying the blue paint object that I created earlier in the constructor. So now you can see why we need those paint objects. If we need to include any object that we draw onto the canvas, we need to specify the color of the object that we're going to draw on the canvas. So similarly, I am drawing a rectangle where I'm specifying the upper left and the lower right corner of the rectangle, and I'm also drawing a circle of red color, and so on. And finally, I am putting the bitmap that I just created in the constructor onto the screen. So once we complete this code, then when you run the application, the result is what you saw at the beginning of this exercise. So let's now run this application and then go and see the result on the emulator's screen. So when your application is deployed on the emulator, this is the result of the modification to the code that you have done. On the screen, you can see that the draw view object occupies the entire white part of the screen, and onto this draw view object we have drawn the various objects in the onDraw method of the draw view class. So you can see that we have drawn the bitmap right at the top here. Then we have drawn two rectangles. One is a horizontal rectangle here and the other one is a vertical rectangle. Then we have a line going through right in the middle here, and then we see half a circle here. The other half of the circle is hidden beneath this blue rectangle. Now the reason why I drew these things onto the canvas is that we're going to use this as a starting point for a simple shooting game that we're going to develop in the next exercise. So before we move on to that exercise, I wanted you to appreciate how we create various objects on the canvas. So this completes the basics graphics exercise, and then we will move on to the next exercise where we will develop a simple shooting game.